Hey guys, welcome to W and L Review. Today we are reviewing one movie, and that one movie is The Tale of Despereaux. It is a 2008 movie. It's rated G, and the screen story is done by Will McRobb and Chris Viscardi. Yeah. It stars Emma Watson, Dustin Hoffman, Tracy Ullman, Kevin Kline, and a bunch more other people that I could be here all night telling you everybody who's in the movie. It also has Sigourney Weaver, who is the narrator. It is adapted. Adapted. That was a hard word for a minute. From a book of the same name, I believe. Anyways, and without further ado, I will let my daughter tell you about the movie.
So the movie starts off, and we meet this rat. I can't remember his name right offhand, but we meet him, and he comes to this kingdom that is really well known for their soup. And it just so happens to be soup day, in which the head chef of the kingdom, and for the king and queen, makes this huge pot of soup, not only for the king and queen, but for the entire kingdom. And this rat wants to get a better smell, and to get maybe even a taste, if you can, of the soup.
Can't blame him.
No. So he goes into the castle, and he's trying to, get a nice sniff of the soup. And what ends up happening is he ends up accidentally falling into the queen's soup. And she ends up, I believe, having a heart attack and passing away. So then the king, after this incident, he bans soup day, he bans all soup, and he bans all rats from the kingdom. So all the rats and mice, for that matter, end up having to go into hiding. And next we are introduced to Despereaux, who I believe is voiced by Dustin Hoffman.
I believe so.
And Despereaux is not like all the other mice. For most of the other mice, they're taught in school how to...
Well, you have to tell, he was born after all this other...
Yes. He was born after the king had banished everyone. Banished all of the rats and mice. And he was different from all the other mice. In school, the mice are taught to cower and to, be afraid. But he's not. He's brave. But that's not allowed for mice. And so, eventually... his parents are given an ultimatum that if Despereaux doesn't start acting like a real mouse soon, he'll have to be banished, because he'll be a danger to their existence, I guess. And so Despereaux's older brother ends up taking him to the castle library, sneakily, to try and teach Despereaux how to be a mouse, how to cower, and how to be careful when you're going out, and how to eat books. And Despereaux ends up reading the book, which is, yet again, off limits. And it's a tale of a brave knight who fights all these battles and ends up saving the princess. And so Despereaux gets all these ideas, and he really wants to be that hero. And eventually, he is sent to this library by himself to what all the other mice are thinking he is eating the book, but he is reading books. And eventually he decides to go exploring, and he ends up finding the princess of this kingdom, who has been locked in her room for years, because, well, nothing's really being done. The entire kingdom has gone rather sad because of there not being any soup or anything, which was their livelihood. And she ends up befriending Despereaux, or Despereaux ends up befriending her. And the bad thing that happens is that the head mice end up finding out about this, hearing Despereaux talk, and he ends up being banished from this mouse town, and he's sent down to live with the rats. Oh dear. And the rats, for the most part, are not nice. They are
Except
scary.
that he meets this one rat that she talked about at the beginning.
Exactly, and he's a nice rat. He doesn't have the same ideas as all these other rats because he didn't live like them. He grew up, he lived on a ship with other people, and he grew up more civil. And so he's not like all the other rats. If anything, he's more like Despereaux in that he's brave. He's more like a mouse, but he's still brave. And so the story goes on, and Despereaux ends up trying to help the princess because the princess wants to bring back soup and even to bring back rats and everything just to have the kingdom be happy again. And so Despereaux is trying to help her. She's like, you have to talk to my dad. He won't listen to me. You have to go talk to the king. And eventually, Despereaux is able to do this, but I can't remember why, but the rat that Despereaux ends up befriending at one point gets jealous of Despereaux and tries to kind of sabotage the plan. But not because he wants to hurt Despereaux, but because he kind of wants to be accepted by his fellow rats. Since at this point he has nowhere else to go. Because he can't go into the kingdom, so he can't really leave where all the other rats are. So eventually he stops being this meanie and he helps Despereaux yet again. And in the end, Despereaux is able to kind of save the entire kingdom by bringing back soup and everything, and all's well that ends well. I know I really loved this movie, and I thought it was great. But with that being said, I'll let my mom tell you her opinion.
I thought The Tale of Despereaux was a very cute movie. It is a movie that is kind of special to us. Let's see if I can say it without... Nope. It's one that we watched with my mom when she was little. My son watched it with us too, but he was a older kid, and he didn't really. I mean, he liked it, but he wasn't going to admit that he liked it. Kind of. But it is very sweet. It's very cute. It has, like I said, it has a wonderful cast of celebrities that do voice the characters, and it makes it extra enjoyable. But the fact that this story is this little guy, he's so stinking cute. This little mouse, he's got these great big ears, kind of like Dumbo, and he's just this lovable little mouse, and everybody just adores him. And the fact that he becomes friends with the princess, and not just the princess, but this rat and others. And it's kind of sort of like Ratatouille. The B for Ratatouille was Ratatouille. I mean, it's kind of like this kind of didn't get as much notoriety as that movie did. And I really don't know why. Maybe it was the timing or whatever, but it's really a good movie, and I think that it's one that you can definitely watch by yourself if you have children, if you have grandchildren, if you have nieces or nephews. It's one that you can easily sit your kids down and not worry about what they're going to see or hear. So, yeah. So, I have a trivia question for you. If you guys know, what series was Emma Watson in for, let's see, how many series? Eight. An 8 series of movies that she was in. And if you know, put it in the comments below. With that, we would like to say to each and every one of our subscribers, thank you so much for joining us. And that meaning new and the ones that have been with us from the beginning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to Marion, also known as Life Unboxed. We'd like to thank her for joining our Patreon. We'd like to thank that Nate guy on YouTube as well. Both of them have been very helpful to our channel and very kind and supportive. And with that, we will say we will see you next time, guys. Bye!